Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here today, talk a little bit about my career. There's a lot of people that are looking to get students into the Faculty of Agriculture or into the universities, and I really encourage you to go ahead and do that. My background is I have a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture, and my specialty was horticulture or the growing of vegetables and ornamental crops. I also have a Bachelor of Arts in English and History, and actually the two seem very diverse, but in my career I've recognized that the communication skills have been extremely important to my career in doing R&D or research and development. And as it was introduced, I'm a professional agronomist, and there is a Manitoba Institute of Agrologists, which is a professional designation, and you have to meet certain standards and live up to certain expectations as a professional to be involved in this career. I've got 24 years in agriculture research and development, and I started my career at the University of Manitoba in the plant science department doing research in weeds actually, and the weed science. And a lot of that was to do with pesticides and herbicide control of weeds. I also worked at Manitoba Pool Elevators putting in variety trials, and the variety trials really, what happens with that is you put in trials, you select the best lines of certain crops, and those are the crops that are the seed that becomes for sale to farmers to produce even better crops. So you try to make sure the crops are suited for the areas in which they're going to be growing. I also worked at the Canadian Wheat Board in the Research and Planning Department, and I learned a lot there about global export sales and the delivery system for Western Canada and how grain was brought into the elevator system. I also worked at the Prairie Agriculture Machinery Institute as Agriculture Research and Development, doing a lot of engineering and looking at how machinery should be suited to the crop production that it's required. And in that area, I learned a lot about technology, and really that put me into the career that I currently do. My personal background is I come from a family farm. We raised cattle and grain and horses, and I showed cattle. Here I'm showing here with one of my horses that I currently have, and also packing strawberries in my process plant, so kind of a lot of diversity in what I do. I'm a status Ojibwe from the Sandy Bay First Nation, and in my family, our history was one of striving for excellence in education and your profession. So really encouraged all my life to go ahead and strive to go to university and push really hard in my profession to become someone who is a leader in the community. My 5 siblings, we each have a minimum of a university degree, so Mom and Dad's encouragement was actually very productive. What agriculture research and development really means is you're looking at agribusiness, and agribusiness means many, many things. It can be technologies that are applied to agriculture, and those can be anything from how the tractor and the cultivation system or the harvesting systems can work better, how you monitor your crops, the tools that are used to grow the crops, and the equipment that is used throughout the things that right from the plate to right from the farm gate to the plate. So those are the tools that are processing that food into something that you would receive in your supermarket or at home. There's a lot of things that in agriculture R&D where we're looking at development of innovative methods and processes, and the reason we need these advancements all the time is we're dealing with more and more pressure all the time to produce food cheaper and better and for more people. We're always looking at the creation of new products and new ways of using crops. Just to tell you a little bit about my daily life, I spend a lot of time overseeing my businesses and working with staff, customers, and investors. I spend about 90% of my time in my communication skills talking to many people trying to push forward the business. So the communication is really important. I also have to use my writing skills in preparing funding applications, and as a researcher, getting the funds to do your research is really one of your major tasks. I also have to do financial reporting documents and all of those for the investors who do invest in the projects. They want to, of course, know everything about the results. And that helps you to get the next stage of investment once you've created a successful project and executed it. I spend an awful lot of time doing research, reading and literature reviews. And what I'm looking for is to keep myself updated all the time on all the new technologies out there. And I don't limit that to agriculture. I don't limit that just to plant science or anything like that. I look at every new technology in every industry. And I'm always reading trade magazines, looking on the internet, looking all the time for information, because you never know when a nugget of information that you've collected over here was really applicable for something that you're doing in your general research. So keeping your mind open and always having an open curiosity for all the things that are going on is really important in adding to your own business. On a daily basis, I have a lot of responsibilities. I put in some very long days. I have no prescribed work hours, which can be a benefit and a lot of hard work, because if it's a weekend and I have something to do, I don't get a weekend, I'm working. So it's a matter of pursuing the tasks as they need to be done. I do a lot of meetings and a lot of travel. Here in the picture, you're seeing a picture of a trip we went to Amsterdam, New York to meet one of the largest food companies in the world, Hero, Beechnut, and we're talking to them about puree production that we have here in Portage la Prairie. And they were very receptive to buying our products. I spend a lot of time networking and looking for collaborators and people to help me with my projects, people who bring expertise that are not in my realm and yet are necessary for the products that I'm trying to develop. I do a lot of problem solving, and I've actually named my company PB&C Agritech Solutions, and what I do is I look for problems in agriculture and I try to match those up with technologies and look for technologies that would fit exactly or could be adapted to fit. And what that does is it allows me to bring in things that nobody else would have thought of, but definitely because they need the background that I have and also the technological. So again, that's where I bring in somebody who has other expertise. As I said, I spend a lot of time doing writing and calculating and spreadsheets. So that's been a major aspect of my work as a researcher. If I'm not communicating daily, this is what happens. My staff are standing there looking at me for something to do. So we definitely got to keep them busy. What do you need in order to pursue a career in ag R&D? You need at least a university degree, and up to the PhD level is even better. Ongoing upgrading of your skills and knowledge. This is a daily task and something that should definitely keep you busy at all times. That's your recreational reading. I spend a lot of time working with scientists and learning scientific methods. So these are things that are very important to someone who's pursuing a career in R&D, is you've got to work within the realm of as other scientists do. And you must have a flair for creativity, and yet the discipline and the commitment to follow through with projects and get them done. You can have the good ideas, but unless you execute them, they really go nowhere. So you've got to do the mundane tasks and get through that day of getting that stuff done. It's doing your homework. So why would I encourage you to choose this career? Well, it's a desire to make things better. It's problem solving, and the creativity of it is extremely rewarding and very exciting. And it's one of the best things that I see about this career is the creativity. There's so much stuff out there to be done. And science is so exciting, and it's about learning and stretching your brain. Your brain is really a muscle, and the more you stretch it and work it, the better it is. So it's something that the more you work at, the better it gets. and the ability to work with great minds and highly skilled and talented teams. Again, what a great reward to work with people who are smarter than you. I want to tell you a little bit about one of my, sorry, wasn't advancing the slides here. I wanted to tell you a little bit about one of my mentors. Dr. Ian Morrison was the head of plant science at the University of Manitoba, and he hired me right out of university when I finished my plant science degree. And Dr. Morrison had such a passion for science and for students, and he had many PhD and master's students in his portfolio teaching. And as his technician, I learned a lot about how to do the R&D and do the, like, plan out a project and do it and finish a project. But his passion and his ability to work with people really was a real mentorship for me. And he also had something that I carry forward in my career, which is every single person working on the team is very valuable and their opinions really matter. And even as the most junior person on his staff, my ideas mattered to him. So these kind of things really pushed me forward in my career and gave me the self-confidence to believe in myself. And these are important things, to look for mentors like this who bring self-confidence to you and teach you to rely on yourself and that you've got the good stuff there. During the work at the summer jobs, when I was working at the plant science department, I learned a lot about the R&D and the science, and there was other professors around all the time. And that kind of atmosphere really pushes you forward into the learning and trying all the time. And those skills and interests developed at that time have been major aspects of my career throughout agriculture. And you know, I'll tell you a little bit why I think agriculture is so fascinating. It's because it embodies so many facets. It's things like you go from the soil through the plants. It's all the living creatures. It's the technologies that are involved in all of that. It's the ecology. How does everything fit together? It's the biology and the food. So it's all the basics of life. So agriculture really fits so many different things. And it's not just one thing. It's not just farming. It's all of the other aspects of it as well. And I'll show you something that was one of the ways that I applied some of the different aspects. In Portage-la-Prairie, where we do a lot of vegetable production, and all over the world where there's vegetable production, 30 to 60% of all of the vegetables are discarded at the field level because they're not considered good enough to go into the marketplace. And that's a shame, because these are still top quality vegetables. They're still as nutritious and as good as any others, but they're thrown away because they aren't visually perfect. And what we did was, as a company, as Canadian Prairie Garden Puree, is we looked at all of this wasted vegetables. There's approximately 9 million carrots that are 9 million pounds of carrots that are thrown away in Portage-la-Prairie every year. We looked at a way of utilizing that food instead of wasting it. And what we did was we come up with a business where we took that waste vegetables that were maybe a crooked carrot or something like that, and we washed it and cleaned it up, and we ground it up, and we put it into a puree, which is ground vegetables, and those go into soup and baby food. And we've created a lot of unique products, and these products go into the marketplace. And until I started investigating this, I didn't realize that purees account for $53 billion a year in food production, and we were throwing this away previously. So just doing the research and finding out that there was a market out there, looking at a problem we had in Portage-la-Prairie, putting those two things together, we've built a multi-million-dollar business out of that. So anybody can do that. They just got to get out there and try it. So in order to do that, we had to do a proof of technical concept. And what that does is it provides the background you're going to need. You have to do your homework, go back and look at all of the aspects, make yourself a really good business plan and a really good project plan. And then I started looking at the validation of the technology, so putting samples through it, taking it out to the customers, showing it to the customers, and what that proved was there really was a good business here and a good quality product here that needed to be used. So that allowed us to build the business. to talk a little bit about what's changed in agriculture in the last 5 to 10 years. I think the research has become a lot easier to do. With the computers and the internet and the speed of communication, I think the pace of new technology development and new advances in agriculture have been really speeded up. And that just makes everything a lot better, a lot more problem solving, and a lot more ability to collaborate with great minds all over the world and see how somebody is doing it over here. Well, it can be adapted to put over here, which is, that's the way to make good advancement. So just to talk a little bit about what traits I think would serve you well in this career. I think a love of learning is something that you must have. You must have that curiosity about everything and looking at everything and bringing those all together, bringing those small nuggets of information into something that can create a whole new advancement. You have to have a passion for the science and the innovation, and also a very good work ethic, because there's a lot of work to be done. And you have to have the ability or the creativity to think outside the box. You can't always do what's always been done. You've got to think of something better and new. And you've got to be undaunted. Perseverance is really important. There's going to be lots of roadblocks, but stick with it. You'll come to a solution. And I think practical and problem solving is something really important. Problem solving is the way that I've built my business. And you have to have the ability to do many tasks well, from communications and writing and calculating all your spreadsheets, and also understanding new technologies and really getting all aspects of it together, and team building. Some of the things that are really, really good about this career are the extraordinary, brilliant people you're going to meet and be able to work with. There's a lot of extreme talent out there, and it's so satisfying to work with these people and recognize that they bring so much to the table, and there's so much opportunity if you work together. Some of the bad things is the hours of travel, the being away from home. At least in my business, this has been something that I find are least in my list of things I like. Long days, I don't mind that at all, but the tight deadlines and stuff definitely challenges. Working in agriculture, you're normally doing things that are, you have to make hay while the sun is shining, so there's a lot of long days, and I've worked from 4 a.m. in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, and then done that for 3 weeks in a row. So those are long days. And one of the things Dr. Morrison asked me to do was peel 1 million wild oat seeds with my fingers. So I did that over the course of 2 months, happily actually. And harvesting in hot weather is exhausting stuff, but that isn't all of the tasks that you do, of course. There's constant setbacks and constraints and lack of time and lack of money to do your projects, but definitely these are challenges, and you can succumb. You can get over them. You don't have to succumb to them. You can just get over them. What have I accomplished in my career as an agronomist? I have 9 agribusinesses, including the 2 that we've discussed. I have 4 patents, and I have a processing plant in Portage la Prairie that is making purees, and we're just installing a $10 million process plant. It's actually being done right now while I'm away here. And I've raised $12 million over the last 3 years for my businesses, and this is a tribute to my ability to write good proposals and to talk to investors with a lot of logic and an understanding of the technologies that I want to bring forward. And I've created 2 world-class innovations. The specific gravity monitoring technology that my team and I have created is a patented technology that has worldwide applications for creating a new industry. The ability to understand specific gravity or dry matter content is a technology that never existed before until our team got the idea that we wanted to build this. And we are right now building this technology with some major companies. Another technology that we have here is showing some of our early experiments. And we developed a root crop monitor, which is a 3D fish finder for potatoes under the ground. So we put a stake in beside the potatoes, and we can tell you how much potatoes are under the ground without digging them up. And that's really important information for a farmer to know, because it's predictive of his yield, and it's also telling him how the inputs he's put into his crops have been successful in helping those potatoes grow to what they are. So this is another very important technology that we've developed as a team. Whoops. So, why should you consider a career in science? There's such an evolving need for innovation. Feeding the world in the future is going to be such a problem. We're going to have 9 billion people, and unless we do a lot better job of not only growing and distributing and processing our food, there's going to be a lot of hungry people, and that can't be. We're going to have to do better. And we need people like you in that career to go and make sure that that happens. We need to add to our knowledge base, and we need to improve lives, not only for you, but for your family and for your community. Because if you get into science, you really can make a difference.